What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. I am back. We are back with my host, Aiden, my co host, Aiden H. Talks. We are here to talk about The Boys, Season 3, Episode 5, which I'm not going to start off right away, but I will just say absolute banger. In my opinion, I think it was the best episode the show has ever had. But Aiden, how you doing today, bro?
All
How
right,
are we feeling?
I'm wonderful, and I'm so happy that this show has not slowed down one bit, and I'm super ready to get into this and get into all the crazy things that happen. But yeah, why don't you start us off because you love this episode, so I'm
Yes.
interested to hear your thoughts.
Yes, this episode for me was, I think, absolutely amazing. I think it handled. I know I've said it in like past episodes as well, but I think it handled every character like amazingly. And we talked a little bit before we started recording. Like Victoria took a back seat in this episode, but I think that was to really let Soldier Boy shine as well. Because like you don't want too many characters up in the mix. But I said this in a TikTok I made today too. Is that um, no matter who they jump to, like you always care about the story. You don't find any point in wherever they're jumping to. You don't find it boring. There's always something interesting going on, something for you to care about. Even if it's just absolutely weird, like you're jumping to the Crimson Countess on a soup porn website, it's like, what? Why does this even exist? With Seth Rogen watching it, of all people. Um, no, yeah, this show, like I've talked about on my TikTok, especially. I know I keep referencing my TikTok. I'm not plugging, I
Go
promise.
follow, go follow.
um, but I talked about it on there. Like, I don't think that they rely on the shock value too much at all in this show. I think it serves a purpose. Um, and this one especially, like we didn't really get all that much shock value, like other than like I guess Soldier Boy maybe blowing up that city block, but like I mean that serves into the story of like what he's not going through, I guess. Oh, actually, no. In a sense, it was what he's going through because he definitely has some PTSD from whatever the Russians were doing to him over there. Clearly,
Yeah,
that song triggered him in some way. Uh, but I don't think that they really did anything that kind of just was kind of like the first episode, the first 15 minutes. They didn't do anything
yeah,
like that. And I really commend them for that 100%. Um but I think everything down to like the emotion with Huey and Annie, their relationship being tested. Uh Huey, we see like Huey loves this power. Like he's never had this power before. And he talks about it a little bit. Like he tries to lie to her for a second and say like he didn't like it, but she knows that he loved it. And he's like, now
yeah.
I can protect you. And then, dude, broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. When she says, I don't need you to save me, Huey. I just need you.
Ugh.
Dude, that is, oh my God. I am such like a softie, bro. And like that was like that hit for me. That was so good. And I don't know. I said it again, I'm gonna plug my TikTok one more time. I said it in my TikTok. I was like, dude, I cannot gush enough about this show. Like I could probably not even let Aiden take his turn and just keep going. But I want to hear what Aiden has to say too.
Well, it's actually crazy because I totally agree with like everything that you said, and I like how you said that no matter who you cut to, it's going to be interesting, and you're going to be engaged in the story. And I was kind of scared, not scared, but I was kind of nervous that Kamiko losing her power, and when they cut to her in the hospital bed, that it was going to kind of slow down a bit. Um, Not that I didn't care about her no more just because she didn't have her powers. I still care about these characters, but there just wasn't really much that could happen here. And then they hit us with that musical note, and it was just amazing. Like the dancing, the choreography, it was just all so good, and it did something for the story because they even had her singing in the first episode, which was all in her head, just like the musical number was, and it does a lot for her character. For someone that doesn't have any lines of dialogue at all, it does do a lot for her character, and this whole season's done a lot for her character. And so it does the same thing for Mother's Milk, and it does so much character development for him, and I absolutely love that. From like the opening dialogue with him and Butcher, which I thought was flawless, it was amazing,
Yeah.
to like you said, Butcher taking that away from him, taking his chance away from him because he's just so hellbound I don't know if I said that right, hellbound, whatever,
No, no, I
on
think that's
killing Homelander and getting Soldier Boy on their team so that he could kill Homelander. And he knows him and Huey. They know that MM would get in the way. So seeing Kamiko getting a lot more Maeve this episode, getting her like I guess side of we don't get a ton of her, but we do get enough to kind of show us where she's at with everything. And even lines with like you said in your TikTok. Now I'm plugging it somehow. Even her and Homelander, that dialogue, that scene they had together, it was chilling and it
I
was just
loved it.
perfect, dude. And everything Homelander did, everything he said was amazing. And yeah, so to stop fumbling over my words, this whole episode and this whole season at that has been really digging deep into these characters and giving us much needed depth to everyone, even the ones that have no lines of dialogue at all. And even some like Ryan that we've only literally seen for a couple episodes, but we still get that scene with him and Kamiko, and we haven't really turned back to him, but it's not like we need to, but we even get him some character depth. So
Yeah.
all in all, like, yeah, this episode was amazing. And not only just for that, but like for like the plot, it moved the plot along a lot. And I mentioned this before we started recording, but we are on episode 5 right now. So we have 3 more episodes left. Next week's episode should be a really big episode. We're gonna be in for a treat with that. We're gonna see some things that we've never
Yeah,
thought
some
we'd see on television before.
great things.
So that one's gonna be interesting. But then after that, you have episode 7 and 8, the penultimate, and then the finale. So there's no way we get any filler. And if it is next week, it's gonna be some crazy like effed up quote unquote filler, So this season, oh man, I did not mean it like that. This season, oh, Jesus. No, but this season really has the potential to knock every single episode out of the park and just have no slow or no filler episodes at all. And it's crazy to me because, and I know I'm going on like a little rant here, but
Nah, bro. Talk your talk.
I know I'm feeling like Homelander on the stage right now. No, it's crazy to me because I have seen a lot of people saying that this is the best comic book show of all time. And I'm like, well, you know what? I really love Daredevil. Daredevil's
Yeah.
awesome. But season 2 was all right. I
Right.
don't think season 2 compares to season 1 and 3. The Boys, every season is amazing.
That's true.
Every season, every episode of every season. So I'm gonna go on record right now
Oh,
to the
snap.
audience, to everybody.
Everybody hit screen record right now.
Everybody hit screen record right now. The Boys is the best comic book show ever made.
Damn, he did it. Hold him to it.
I
Hold him
did
to
it.
it. Screen
Hold me
record
to
it.
it.
Screenshot. He
Everything.
said it right here.
Yeah.
It's going to the record books.
The best. The best. I'm sorry,
Oh
but
my
it is the
God.
best.
He
Yeah.
really stated that. I don't know if I'll say that. I don't know if I'll say that because I think you're right. I 100% agree with you. Every season has been consistently good. It's just I don't know if the writing is up to the level of where Daredevil was for me personally.
The writing is amazing in Daredevil.
But I still think like I can't refute your point at all. Like the as far as seasons go, like every single one of the boys has been a banger. I wanted to touch a little bit on Maeve and Butcher because you brought up Maeve, and it's like I
didn't see
saw
that
it coming at the last second though, so it's like I
yeah.
didn't even really see it coming.
Yeah.
I just like, especially right after him saying that all of you need to go, it's like they're posing this dilemma that's eventually going to come up. Like she's helping him get to this ultimate goal of killing all the soups and getting rid of all of them, and she herself is a soup, so you wonder how that's all going to play out. And then 2 seconds later they're banging, it's like,
yeah,
I guess, I mean, granted they're both drunk, but I mean Butcher doesn't hate soups that much, I guess, or maybe
yeah,
it's really hard to I guess put into words how he might be feeling with this whole thing, but
yeah.
also, I just watched it right now. It really didn't take much convincing for Maeve to let go of that sobriety.
Yeah, it really didn't.
It's like, I've been sober for a year. Oh shit! Well, I guess that's
All
nothing
right.
compared to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't. I don't think this is gonna change Butcher's outlook or anything. I don't think he's like falling in love with Maeve or anything like that. But
No.
there's definitely something to be said here because I mean, as far as we know, Maeve's not perfect. She's obviously done messed up stuff in the past, just like other soups. But I don't think it's on the same level as other soups as well. And I think she's definitely learned from that, and she's wanted to change clearly. Um,
Yeah.
so much to the point, and to jump back to the her and Homelander thing. As soon as Homelander comes in, Homelander just asks her like an honest question: "Do you think it was this?" And she's almost to the point where she doesn't care anymore, or not
Yeah.
even almost. She's probably there because she's just telling Homelander like right off the bat, "I think you're a narcissistic, blah blah blah, whatever the hell she said, because
Yeah.
you think a giant explosion that kills 19 people is somehow about you." And she's
Yeah.
spot on. She's spot on. But she just like I'm sure she still to a degree fears him because that's like what the crux of the show is like all these soups fear Homelander because they have to a certain degree because they're not as strong as him. But
Yeah.
um she's past this point where she knows like where this is all leading and eventually they're gonna have to fight and like maybe she's just at a point where she maybe just wants to like n- not care anymore, give it up.
Yeah.
But I know she still wants to hold on to try and get rid of him because that's what the world needs. Um, Also, I'd like to say I don't know how I didn't see this coming. Uh, I mean, because he's Homelander, like obviously it should make sense, like super smell, I guess. But
Yeah.
he's like, I smell him all over you. I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
this is not good, very not good.
Yeah.
I just I don't know this whole scene. Like this is what made like I know people have been talking about for weeks how Anthony Starr plays this out. And
Amazing.
I don't disagree with him. Like other scenes, like he's definitely had some other fantastic scenes. But for this part where he's like, you pity me after like, dude, I don't know, man. Like just the way they zoom in on his face and the way he plays that was just expertly crafted to me. That didn't make any
Yeah.
sense, but whatever.
I
Um,
I know what you
no,
mean.
it's just like I love it so much, and I think they're everybody's saying that he's probably the best written villain so far right now. I don't think I don't want to fully agree with it yet, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're far off from that being the truth. And
Yeah.
he's just giving us more and more to back up that theory, which with each episode, and I love that.
This truly is the summer of the villains. It is really hard to um compare them in like certain like written and stuff like how who's written who's more savage whatever, but we can still appreciate them all for their greatness. We have Homelander, we have 001. Did I just spoil that for you?
No, no,
Okay.
I finished it. I finished it
Okay,
yesterday.
okay, good.
I meant to tell you that. I meant to tell you that.
Well, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched Stranger Things. um we have 001 from Stranger Things, we have Homelander, we have Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul, and we have just amazing villains. And Anthony Starr's Homelander is just like, man, he is at the top of every single one of those lists. Not number one, maybe number one in some, maybe like, second, maybe third, but he's up there because he's just such a well written character. His motives are insane. He is insane. The way he plays his actor or this his character is awesome. So yeah, all the props to him. I really hope he makes it through this season, although I don't think he will. Actually, that's kind of tough. I want to say I don't think he will, but who could fill in his shoes for season 4 if he
That's the
doesn't?
thing. Yeah.
So I don't
With the
know.
season 4 announcement, yeah, I think it's like it's because I would have if I was a betting man, I would have bet that this was leading up to him maybe getting killed at the end.
It seems like it because like how are they gonna stop? Like it's hard because it's like you have another season. So if you do kill off one of your or like your best villain ever, for for your respective show, and one of the best villains in any comic book show, if you kill him off, how do you fill his shoes? But to look at it the other way, if you don't kill him off, then what is all of this like leading up to? Like, what is the final episode going to have in store for us? I know, like the finale from last season was insane. It was crazy just seeing like him float down with the blood over his face and seeing Becca's death, and that whole finale was just awesome. And it's like, well, now where do you go? You know, if you kill him off this season, where do you go from here? And if you don't, what are the boys gonna do? What is this whole
Yeah.
Soldier Boy thing leading up to, and how is it gonna, pay off in the finale? So yeah, I'm at a conflict there. All that to say that yeah, Anthony Starr is amazing, and that little piece of dialogue. Honestly, any piece of dialogue he's in, he plays his character so good. I can't stress it enough, dude. Like
Yeah.
this with him and Maeve, and then him and Starlight, where he like snaps on her real quick, um, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
even the opening scene where he tells he's like, "What is your name, Marine?" And he's like, "Do
Dude,
you think you
yeah.
should be in my spot then?" And then she's like, "Marine, you can leave. You're just embarrassing yourself." And he's just
Yeah.
like going insane, you know?
That's something I wanna touch on too, actually, is, her character, and I'm forgetting Ashley.
Ashley.
Um, yeah, I dude, and this just goes back to what I'm saying about every character gets their moment. Um, she that beautiful I thought I say beautiful, but it's messed up because Ashley's just like a I don't know what she's like too scared to step up or anything. But that moment between her and Starlight, I thought was really, really great because you see the real Ashley come out for like a few seconds, and she's like, "I don't have superpowers. What do you want me to do? Like, I can't. Like, this isn't a realistic
Yeah.
thing for me." Um, and then Starlight tries to reassure her, like, you don't need superpowers. But like, and you can't really blame Ashley. Like, she's scared. She's absolutely scared. She's just a regular person. Madeline Stillwell from
Yeah.
season one in her position right now. And granted, at first glance, we would think, okay, like in the beginning of season one, you think Madison Stillwell is probably Madison, I don't remember,
Madeline, yeah.
is uh is untouchable because
Yeah.
she had Homelander wrapped around her finger essentially. But by the end, Homelander just offs her like that, and we all know that now. And I think Ashley does too, if I remember correctly. I think she does.
I think
Um,
so, yeah.
so like she knows, like at the drop of a hat, her life can end
Yeah.
faster than the drop of a hat,
Yeah.
because considering how fast this man can move. But and I can't really blame Ashley, but at the same time, you can because there's all these other people who are stepping up to the plate, who've been stepping up to the plate, you know. But this is all she knows, you know. This is all she knows. She's doing it well. She's been surviving so long doing it, and so that I think that's where the whole you can't really blame her falls into this. And I just thought it was handled so well. And she's just like, you know what, in her mind, screw this. I
Yeah.
can't do this. Starlight, I'm the CEO. Get out of my office. You should have
Yeah.
scheduled a fucking meeting or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
damn. And you see Starlight is like heartbroken by that too. I think she had like tears in her eyes or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it just goes to show like I keep saying it about the characters, I know, but it's so that's why you come to the show. Like you think people come to the show for the gore and stuff, but I am telling you, like
It's a
these characters, they
story.
write them well.
Yeah.
It's and oh my god, and we haven't even touched on. I love the Kimiko and Frenchie stuff this episode too.
Yeah.
Absolutely great stuff.
Man, that scene had me like I was about to cry, dude. I was about to cry when Kimiko realized that she could talk and how happy she was getting. It hurt, and even seeing Frenchie, um, how excited he just stops the music and gets up and
Takes the
he's like,
headphones out, yeah.
he's like Mongor. Um, it was just so good, and seeing how happy Kimiko was that she doesn't have her powers no more. And um, a quick little side note on that, I don't think Frenchie's making it out alive this season.
You think?
I
Dang.
don't think
You
so.
know what? Now that you say it, I think I agree with you actually.
I
I
feel
think
like
I agree.
he's arced out, his character is arced out. And that's not to say that his character isn't good or anything or that his character is boring, but I mean, his character story is
Is
kind of
Kimiko.
finished. And
Right.
Kimiko's as well. Yeah, they're together, like they're one person. And their story's kind of finished. From here they could either run off into the sunset or one of them can die. And I don't think I believe that they would let these characters run off into the sunset after
Yeah.
everything they've done, one or the other. Maybe they might let one, but um, I did want to say that I was going somewhere with all of that, but I will jump to something that I have been wanting to talk about, and that is drumroll please, our boy Black Noir, bro.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
oh
yes,
my
yes.
god, what? And
it's so weird. Sorry to cut you off, but it's so
no,
weird to
no,
me
go.
that we're getting so little of him this
Yeah,
season. Like obviously I think now we're gonna see more of him because I'm sure he took Maeve somewhere. I'm sure Homelander didn't like oversee that personally. Um,
yeah,
well, they'll have like Noir keep checking in on Maeve and stuff like that. But it's just it's wild to me how much of a backseat that he's taking. Like now that we found out like he's here,
yeah,
he's still kicking, and then he's just like I feel like it's a bombshell, and now we're just
yeah, waiting for it to
he's
go off.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he'll take a bigger role at all because I'm trying to remember. He didn't even really have because he was taken out in the finale of last season. So like
yeah.
we didn't get much of him then. And yeah, we need some more Black Noir shine for
Dude,
100%.
I feel like they're gonna do something big with him, whether they go the comics route or not. They have to be doing something big with him because not only like are they giving him kind of a bigger role now, like with like the whole kidnapping of Maeve, but is he even the same person? Like we presumably saw him die last season, and not only that, how did Homelander persuade him to do that? I feel like we're supposed to think that he didn't die because he's going after Maeve, and Maeve tried to kill him last season when he attacked Starlight. But could that be a misdirect? You know, or could he be the same Black Noir that we know that
Yeah.
we saw in the flashbacks and everything? And that was here throughout season 1 and 2. Like I really don't know. Either way, like I'm not gonna say if they don't go the comics route or if they do bring him back and say, well, he didn't die, that I'd be upset. I mean, I'd love it as long as we get Black Noir. You know, like he's so awesome. But yeah, it is definitely something to look out for. But not only that, when Ashley is talking to Starlight, this is what I was telling you about earlier. When Ashley's talking to Starlight, she says she went to a I want to say she said that she went to a resort in Malibu or
In
something.
Malibu, yeah.
But yeah, Maeve is at a global wellness retreat in Malibu. Is she, or is this where Herogasm is taking place? And is
Because
that
it's
why
on
we
like
are
an
getting
island, right? Yeah, it's on an
yeah.
island.
I mean she does say Malibu, she does say retreat. I'm just trying to put one and one together because how do we go from this episode to Herogasm next episode?
Yeah, it kind of seems like there's so little setup for it, right? And so
I feel like this might be a little bit of the setup.
yeah.
I don't know, or I don't know. Imagine if Homelander and Black Noir took Maeve to this thing, this island or whatever, and that's like kind of where we pick up next episode, or that's where Herogasm is taking place. I don't know. It could be something else, but I felt like that was their kind of way of trying to set up
I
Herogasm
can
because
see that.
how do we go from episode 5 to Herogasm? Like
Yeah,
that's my big
100%.
question.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that prospect because it's like I'm not seeing the how that's going to connect right now at all, other
Yeah.
than what you're saying. Because I think that's the only sort of thread line that we have right now is to try and connect the two. Um,
Yeah.
but to touch on what you said, if this is the same Black Noir, to
Yeah.
touch on what you said, like how he got no Black Noir to do that. I know you haven't watched the animated show yet. So I don't. Do
Yeah.
you plan on watching it or no? I don't want to.
Um, I I think you actually told me that the last episode is only one
Yeah.
that's canon, so,
Yeah. Do you plan on
um
watching that? Because that's the one I'm gonna talk about, it's just that one.
yeah, I mean, you could talk about it, but yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna watch it, yeah.
Um, I guess it's not really spoilery. Well,
Go
it is
for
for the
it.
episode, but whatever. So like in the episode, it follows Homelander in like the early days when he like actually wants to be like a good hero. Like
Oh, wow.
he's trying his best to like to do good, I guess. And then it comes down to like this hostage situation, and then he gets overwhelmed and he messes up and he kills all the hostages and he kills like all the people that are holding them hostage. And
Oof.
then this whole time uh he thinks Black Noir doesn't like him because Black Noir was already part of the Seven before Homelander showed up.
Wow.
Um and I can't remember how they led up to him not thinking that Black Noir liked him, but Black Noir shows up to the scene after because it's in this warehouse. Nobody in the there are reporters and
Yeah.
stuff outside, but they can't see it. So Black Noir shows up in the room, and then he's like, "What do you want? What are you looking at? Are you going to tell everybody about this? No, I can't let you leave." And so he starts trying to kill Black Noir, but Black Noir is like dodging all of his heat vision and stuff like that, all of his punches. And Black Noir keeps because he can't talk. He's like, "No."
Yeah.
And then he's trying to like tell him and then by the end, eventually Homelander realizes like, oh, he's not trying to hurt me. And then I can't remember what Black Noir points to, but he points to something that's going to help them cover it up. And then so I think that like established their relationship of
Wow.
like how much they trust each other, and are willing to lean on each other to try and cover up their shitty
Wow.
behavior. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that's where that episode might have played into the actual show, which I'm happy about because I
Wow,
was wondering
yeah.
why make that only that episode canon if it doesn't really touch on anything. So I think that's actually a really cool detail about it.
Wow, dude, that's beautiful. Like, that's a really cool, like, kind of like story. I did actually see a clip of it on TikTok, and I was kind of wondering like, what is going on? I didn't assume it was canon, but I was like, oh, this is obviously from the boys Diabolical, but like, what's going on here? Like, why are they fighting? I know like he's throwing his smoke bombs and like, he's hiding from Homelander, and Homelander like looks and finds him. So
Yeah,
um, wow, that is really cool. I don't know why I'm so like fascinated with that. That like Black Noir is like, no, like he can't talk. He's like, no, I can help you cover this up, and
yeah,
that he's like one of the only people that Homelander trusts. That's actually a really cool connection between them two because, like I said, or like I just said, like Homelander doesn't trust a lot of people, and like Ashley even says in the show, like he needs people he can trust, and so to see that Black Noir is kind of that person for him, uh, yeah, that's really, really cool. Interesting. I really hope that's the route they go. And like I said, even if they don't go the comics route and they do keep the same Black Noir, um, I'm all for it. Even more now after you telling me that. So
yeah.
either way they go with that, yeah, that's really cool. Um,
Um,
go
I
ahead, go
wanted
ahead.
to, I wanted to talk about the whole Blue Hawk thing.
Yeah, dude, that was
Yeah,
so hard to watch, dude.
yeah, that was
Mm,
right off the bat at not the, we'll talk about the meeting part first.
yeah,
Um, when Ashley just like bombards A Train with the visit, and then he's talking about, well, technically it's racist to call someone racist and stuff like that. And
yeah,
you see the thread lines, you're like, oh my god, this guy's a joke.
yeah, dude.
Um, and I think that they played out this character for the stereotype really really well.
Yeah,
As far as the stereotype goes.
yeah,
But then to go from that, and he's like, sure, yeah, I'll issue an apology, whatever. You can tell he just doesn't want to do it,
yeah,
but he thinks it'll put him in good standing with the seven or whatever. Um,
yeah,
and he doesn't think he's over policing black neighborhoods. He says that black neighborhoods just happen to have more crime,
yeah,
all the regular bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh yeah." Then he says, "Am I being canceled right now? Are you guys trying to like cancel me? Is this a cancel
Dude.
thing?" Like, dude,
Come
like
on.
you're so oblivious. It's insane. But that's the point. That's they're trying to play on how stupid a lot of these actual people act.
Yeah,
And to jump to the actual scene, uh, you just know right off the bat the way he's talking. He doesn't. He's it's not sincere. He doesn't care. He just wants to get it over with, for the publicity of it all.
yeah.
Um, and then he's like, "Oh, donate $10,000, blah 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 blah." And then people are like, "What about I think Trayvon was the guy's name, or
I think it
Tavon?"
was I don't wanna mess it up, but I do believe it was, like, Raymond Tucker, I wanna say. I'm actually gonna go look for it right now
Yeah,
just because I don't wanna
right.
get the
Yeah.
name wrong, but, yeah, if I believe correctly, it was, like, Raymond Tucker or something. Uh,
Um,
I'm looking at it right now, but, continue.
no, wait. You say the name because if you found it,
Yeah. I'm,
um,
like,
okay,
right here.
I'll let you find it while I continue.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
So yeah, then he they go on, and the audience just keeps shouting things at him like, well, I bet if it was a white person up in Meek Hill or whatever she says,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the same story. And then that's when he reiterates like, well, black neighborhoods just have more crime. And like, well, they say, well, you're a fucking superhero. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Obviously you can't just go in with full force. And he's I think he said that like he was the guy that he like curb stomped was exuding, I can't say that word for some reason, excessive force or something like that,
Yeah.
the regular bullshit. And so then it all just goes to hell really fast. Like
Ugh.
he's about to leave. A Train's trying to get him out of there really quickly, which A Train's just again spineless, just not really saying anything. He's just more looking out for the soup guy
Mhm.
at that moment in time. um and then he just starts punching people across the room, throwing people into walls. And then of all the people, and eventually he's going to keep going. He just starts going through the crowd and starts hitting everybody. A Train eventually grabs onto him and tells him to yells in his face and stop. And then he ends up leaving. But then A Train's brother is
Yeah.
absolutely messed up, and we don't know how messed up in that moment.
Yeah.
But obviously they're setting up something with A. I thought for sure in that moment when A Train was in the hospital with him, A Train was just gonna say like fuck it about his speed and his heart and just like race it and go like run at the dude while he's like on live TV or whatever and just
Yeah.
go like kill him or something. But I guess not. I should have I
He's
gave
still
A Train
spineless.
gave A Train too much credit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, you really did. Um,
yeah, it's I don't really like they cap again to touch on the stereotype before I let you go real quick.
no,
Just
go
like they
ahead, yeah.
captured it really quick, not really quick. They captured it like I think really great. Like he's saying all the things like all lives matter because people are starting
Yeah,
shouting Black Lives Matter. And he's like all lives matter actually, um, and
yeah.
it's just it's heartbreaking to see because it's like the real life parallels and stuff like that. And I don't know.
Yeah,
This was one of the more hard hitting stuff for me, I
it
guess. I don't
it
know.
really was.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even though I can't relate to it, it was so hard to see, and even some of the videos that people take of this stuff happening in real life is hard to see as well, or hard to watch as well. So, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I definitely made that connection while watching this scene that, both are equally as chilling and as disturbing to watch. So seeing him, spaz out like that, and I know a big argument was like, well, all lives matter. Well, that's just a rebuttal to what we're saying. We're saying Black
Yeah.
Lives Matter too, and y'all are rebutting by saying no, all lives matter, and
Yeah.
that's not the point,
Nobody's saying all lives don't matter. It's just it seems like Black
Exactly.
Lives Matter less.
Exactly. And they captured that perfectly in this scene because he doesn't say that until they start saying Black Lives Matter. And then he's like, actually, all lives matter. Like he's doing exactly what some of these people do in real life
Hmm.
with that argument. And they captured that perfectly. And yeah, just everything he said leading up to that, everything in his speech, down to like him saying, "I actually have black friends," and points to A Train. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
don't fall back on it. A Train's not your friend. Don't try and fall back and change your story up and use A Train as a hitch right now. But that scene, it was very disturbing, and I wanted it to end. I right away. I didn't want to see anyone get killed, and so before we see A Train's brother, it looked like people were only injured. So I was like, okay, good that he didn't kill anybody. And then this show that they really drove it home by saying that his brother will never be able to walk again, because
Yeah.
they could have just said, oh, he just suffered a really mild back injury, he'll be okay. But they drove it home by saying that he's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life. And to cut that with hearing Blue Hawk on the screen, keeping up his agenda and everything, it
Yeah.
was just so stupid. And yeah, this was one of the and it's crazy because throughout all the gore, throughout everything in episode one, everything we see in this show, out of all of that, this was the hardest thing to watch, in my opinion. Like
Hell yeah. Yeah. That's
it was really hard.
yeah. It's and I love that they didn't make this one overly gory. Like they didn't try this, and I think this also just backs up my point about they don't overuse the gore and they know when
Yeah,
to not use it. Like they didn't try to make this like oh my god more so than it already is. Like they lean into the oh my god factor of like not that this is real necessarily because it involves a superhero
yeah,
hero throwing people around and like brutally like hurting them,
yeah,
borderline murdering them. But they didn't lean into like the oh like he throws them against the wall and like their head like explodes up against the brick
yeah,
wall and stuff like that,
yeah,
um they kept it sort of grounded in a way, and it's just that I don't know they didn't want the grotesqueness of it to be the prevailing not
message.
ideology message, yeah,
Yeah,
the thing you take away from it. They
Yeah.
didn't want the gore and whatnot to be that, and I commend them for that 100%.
Yeah, and it's just like we talked about last week, like, keep pissing these people off. Keep doing it. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see people hating on this because it's too woke or quote unquote
Yeah.
too woke. Like, do know, like, you're not gonna get this in any other like superhero media. Um, I know Falcon and Winter Soldier touched on it a little bit.
Mhm.
Obviously, not to the extent the boys does, but um, props to both of those shows for even having the balls to be like, no, look, like, we're gonna talk about this whether you like it or not. I don't care
Yeah.
if you give us a who gives a you know what? I'll say it. Who gives a fuck about
Yeah.
a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes? Who gives a
Yeah.
shit about a one star on Letterbox just because we're talking about shit you don't like? No, fuck
Yeah.
that, dude. Like,
Yeah.
talk
Talk your
about it.
shit. Yeah,
Talk
exactly.
about it, bro. It needs to be talked about. Whether
'Cause
you do it I don't mean to cut you off, but like whether you
no,
do it
no.
in like because I know before this the show had done it in like a joking way, not a joking way, like not making fun of the situation, but having Ashley say stuff like it's my favorite hashtag. Whether you do it in a way like that or a way like this or even a way like Falcon and Winter Soldier talks about it, down to like Miss Marvel, like how Miss Marvel's touching on it and how people are getting stereotypes in Miss Marvel and how they're bringing it to attention. Talk about it because it needs to be talked about, and I'm glad that they're doing stuff like this and showing these people like, yeah, look how disturbing it is. This shit happens in real life, you know.
Yeah. I wanna look up a word real quick.
His name
Make
was
sure I'm using it.
Raymond Tucker, by the way.
Okay, okay. It's little subliminal messages, that was the word, that
Yeah.
they that they put in these not only superhero shows, just like all movies and cinema. I don't think you can find certain movies that don't have like little subliminal messages like that. Whether like not necessarily they're all going to be political or all going to be great big messages like that, but there's always
Yeah.
going to be like so I've never understood especially when it comes to comics, like go keep politics out of it, you know. Um, it's
Yeah.
always been sort of ingrained in that in a way, especially when you make like the first black superhero of recognition, you know, stuff like that. First woman superhero being Wonder Woman, like those were
Yeah.
big things. So trying to like take that away is taking away the identity of like not that like the boys comics did anything revolution. I'm not trying to say that, but this is more
Yeah.
touching on other things. So I'll wrap it back to the show, but just because I made my point with that, it's just
Yeah.
there's always going to be these little there's no point in complaining is my point. Like
Yeah.
if you don't like it then don't watch it. Like if you still like the show, skip through that part of the episode. Like just stop whining about it. I like
Exactly.
let the people who want to talk about it. If you don't want to hear that stuff, then block, mute, whatever you got to do, man. Just like
Yeah.
it's so weird to me how people will just take their time out of their day to like not even sometimes not even listen to what is being said just because the utter of the word like politics or
Exactly.
whatever the hell it might be
And
is within the show.
exactly, and that's the thing. It's like this scene in particular and everything with A Train's storyline this season, that's not politics, dude. Like,
Yeah,
if you're over here crying about like politics, someone's, racism in someone's life is not political at
it's like
all.
that's real
It's
for them.
not
That's
being
realistic.
woke.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it shouldn't be looked at like that. So yeah, if you're gonna cry about all that stuff, do it in silence. Be ignorant, be racist, be a crybaby in silence,
yeah.
Just
We don't got
just
time for that.
skip
We don't
it.
want to hear it, bro.
Yeah, skip it
Yeah,
and move on with your day. Um, something that's that they also do in this episode that is on like this topic was the parallel of Captain. I always know the memes of like Captain America coming back from the 40s and like they had memes of seeing black people with white people and being like, how did that happen? Or like, what? This is not the
yeah,
40s or whatever. Everyone's saying those memes and being like, oh, do you think Captain America was racist and stuff? They like, I think I really hope this is a reference to that because we
I think
see,
it is. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, how we see Soldier Boy in I guess what their New York would be, and then he walks by and sees a gay couple and kind of like makes a
Yeah,
face and like
gay a
scoffs
gay
at him.
interracial couple too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on top of that. And I thought it wasn't a fun little play on the Captain America stuff, but it shows that the boys are going to this extreme, and they're also playing on like the Captain America meme and everything. But and it shows how much of an asshole Soldier Boy is.
Yeah,
So yeah, I thought that was a cool parallel, and again brought something to attention that needs to be talked about. So
yeah.
yeah,
I thought it was wild just because I feel like that Captain America stuff was popping off, like, super recent, at least on Twitter.
yeah,
People were talking like, someone had tweeted, like, "I wonder what happened, with the first black guy that Captain America met getting out of the ice." And then
oh
someone quote
jeez,
tweeted it with, "It was this doctor right here." And then it was like it was like that was the panel actually. It was like the doctor was examining Captain America, and then she said,
oh
"I'm a
wow,
doctor." And then Cap was like, "Really?" with like an exclamation point. And she said, "Yeah, what's wrong about that?" She said, "Is there something wrong with that?" And Cap said, um, "No, it's a good thing," or something like that. And it was like, very Captain
yeah,
America
because he's a good
response.
guy, man.
Yeah,
He's the best of us all. Yeah,
exactly. But I guess to bring it back to the show, we'll start. Sorry for our tangent, guys. Well, it was a needed one, I guess.
very
Not,
needed. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so we forgot to touch on, I guess, well, actually, I'll let you say the little Huey because you wrote it down in your notes, the Huey and um,
Oh, the
yeah, yeah,
Fast and Furious little line that he says,
yeah,
or yeah.
yeah.
So he's like, I feel like Dom Toretto, because I love family and shit, or something like that.
That was yeah. I
uh,
thought that was gold. It's just like,
yeah,
I mean, it's one could say it's an overdone joke, sure, now, but because it's been happening for years. But I mean, just to see it like it's like the Spider-Man pointing meme. To see it like actually like notified in reality is like
yeah.
is cool to see. Um,
Um,
Wade, yeah, if you
no,
want to touch
it
on
was
that, go ahead.
oh no, I was actually gonna touch on the legend, but if you had anything else to
No,
touch
no,
on, we can.
yeah, go ahead.
Um, so freaking Paul Reiser, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but freaking Paul Reiser, and this dude
Yeah, I
was in
was.
Stranger Things, and so to
Yeah.
see him, he's in two shows at once and plays two completely different characters. I'm assuming. So I actually read on like the wiki, the boys wiki, and this dude is basically a play on on Stan Lee actually, but
Oh,
for the boys universe. So she said he was VP or something of the hero management. So he was basically the one that kept these heroes' identities um, in light of the public, like to make them look good. And so he knows everything about all of them. That's which is why Soldier Boy goes to find Crimson Countess through him, um, and is also why he covered up for Soldier Boy killing MM's family and other black people in the 40s or whatever
yeah,
back then,
whatever. Yeah.
uh, because this dude was behind it all, covering for everyone and making sure that their images stayed intact in the public eye. So I thought it was really cool. I think in the comics, he's this short, bald dude that is just like, for lack of a better word, very horny, if I say so.
Yeah.
To see him play by Paul Reiser was very awesome, dude. To see him in Stranger Things and him in The Boys playing two completely different characters and showing his range of acting was super awesome. And yeah, I loved his whole little part and him explaining how all these soups were able to keep their image up throughout the years. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing to touch on, who was, like, in charge of keeping that squeaky clean image before
Yeah,
current Vought, was in charge,
yeah,
or like Stan and Ashley. And yeah, no, that was especially because I had literally just finished, like, my whole big half rewatch and half new watch of Stranger Things.
yeah.
Um, that was like the Leonardo DiCaprio point at the screen meme
Hey, hey,
type crap for me. Yeah,
bro.
no, yeah. um, but and I feel like this of all scenes is like a testament to what I said earlier about no matter what you're jumping to, like you're interested in it. Like this could be like a boring scene. And I feel
Yeah,
like some people probably looked at it that way, but you're learning more about Vought and the past of Vought and about Soldier Boy and how some of his cover-ups were made, and this guy has history with Butcher, and you're wondering what all that is. And Butcher's like, "Oh, I'll mess you up again, dude. Like, it's
Yeah.
no problem to me." And Mother's Milk just wants to get to Soldier Boy, so like he's like trying to reason with this guy so much. And so
Yeah.
there's so many different like dynamics bouncing off of each other at once. Um,
Yeah.
that I like it a lot. Also, another thing, this is completely separate from that, but I was just looking at it in the episode right now. I
Yeah.
had mentioned last week that I said, of course, Huey has termites powers because I thought he
And
shrank, but
Nightcrawler's powers.
yeah, so he can teleport, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh damn, okay, that's cool for me though, because like I was kind of wondering like, well, does this new compound V just give you like the same superpowers that other people have? Because like Homeland, it seems Butcher, sorry, has the same powers as Homelander. It seems like super strength,
Yeah.
invulnerability, laser eyes. Don't know if he can fly, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Would
Um,
be cool.
and then so it seemed like Huey looked like he shrank to me, um, but I was wrong, and thankfully I was wrong because I don't think we've seen anybody else who can teleport yet in this show.
No,
Um,
I don't think we have.
yeah, so that's cool that we're still seeing new powers. I'm sure somebody else out there has similar powers to that though.
Yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, I was like I was glad and kind of bummed out as well that I was wrong about that because I stated like, oh, he has termites powers, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we touched on the Ashley and Starlight scene. Um, yes,
I
I wanted to talk about the Kimiko talking scene. I know you talked about it a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
this was so good to me. I thought the way they handled and you talked about this a little bit too. Like this is like her way of expressing herself, like this musical
Yeah.
stuff. Because like, how do you give emotion and I don't know, further depth to a character that can't speak? And like obviously you give the sign language and she can give the emotion with her face and whatnot. Um, but how they're like actually feeling, like you could it takes more than just like facial acting and stuff like that. Like it's
Yeah.
like moving around and speaking in like tone, voice tone and everything like that. Um, so to give like these little fantasy sequences for her where she's just on the top of the world because she doesn't have her powers anymore, the powers that she felt cursed by that she talked about with Ryan earlier this season.
Yeah.
um and also she's talking now, at least a very
Yeah.
little bit, saying I whatever, and then she got to kiss Frenchie and it seemed like Frenchie reciprocated it, and I feel so bad for her too because like Frenchie never came back. um
Yeah.
Granted, she didn't kiss Frenchie until after the musical, but still, the point remains. I think part of the reason she did it is because she was on cloud nine. Her powers are gone. She can feel all this pain, which is weird. Like I wouldn't want to like feel that what she's
Yeah.
feeling, but obviously, like she's over the moon about it. And
Yeah.
I just, for something so, I don't want to say her role is so small, but because it definitely it has significance, but just something that you probably like just think, oh, this is the norm now for her. Like this is who she is. She's like the powerhouse of the group. She's the one person in the group who has superpowers, except for Butcher and Huey now, obviously. One
Yeah.
person in the group has superpowers. She's like the muscle, and then now you strip all that away, and turns out the muscle didn't really even like. Well, we already knew that, but she didn't like having the muscle, and she's so happy that she's not the muscle anymore. And
Yeah.
I think that's just a really cool balancing of themes there that I really, really love.
Yeah. Like I said, that scene almost made me cry. Seeing her how happy she was, and um, seeing how happy Frenchie was that she was okay and happy with where she was at. And yeah, it is. It's really sad. For a second there, I thought Frenchie wasn't reciprocating the energy,
Yeah.
and then he was making the coffee and he kind of smiled. So I think everything just kind of took him off guard. So it is sad. I really hope he doesn't die. I want them to have, if no one else, I want them to have to ride off into the sunset, have a happy ending. So
Yeah.
um, amazing scene. And like I said, Kimiko has had so much awesome development this season, and so has Mother's Milk. So I'm glad that they're kind of hitting on everything. Um, it's been awesome to see. I don't want to say she took a back seat last season, but um, definitely is getting more development. So that's really good. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop back to the whole legend scene. I just want to say one thing because I think
Okay.
he had and I'm so mad that I didn't recognize anyone else that was on his wall and anyone that he was talking about. Um, but I did notice. I think it was Carrie Fisher that he had a picture with on his wall.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't even
I
notice.
really think so. I'm playing it right now to look at it, but if it's not Carrie Fisher, it looks really, really, really similar to her.
Super
Um,
simple.
and if it is Carrie Fisher, then amazing, amazing little reference. And uh, I love Carrie Fisher. I love Star Wars, and
Yeah.
um, s- mm, I was going to get into a minor spoiler for Kenobi, but just having her gone really does hit, and so. Um, I mean, if that is her, if that's not, then this is just one big sappy mm, monologue from me for no reason. But
Yeah.
it looks like her, so I'll take it. Yeah, it is very awesome seeing that, and I do miss Carrie Fisher. So I thought that was cool, and I'm really sad that I don't recognize anyone else on there because I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like something for us to catch on to and be like, look at
Right.
all these famous old people he's with, and not old, but like old back in the old days, and all the stuff he was saying about other like celebrities and stuff that I just couldn't pick up on because I don't know who he's talking about. Um, I thought that was pretty funny. And then one more other thing was how MM's daughter stepdad adores Homelander and how
Yeah.
he's trying to push it on MM's kid, and he's like no, it's so cool because like knowing what we know about mother's milk and how these soups have kind of messed his life up, and then seeing that his daughter's stepdad is the one that adores them and pushes this in front of Janine's face. I feel like that was also a kind of a play on recent events and how most people um, react seeing a white man in power such as Homelander saying that he can do whatever the fuck he wants and that he's superior to everybody. I feel like it was a play on some of
Right.
that, and for her stepdad to be um, kind of forcing it in front of Janine is it's not okay. I understand where
Yeah.
Mother's Milk is coming from. Uh, so yeah, is there anything you wanted to touch on that? Because speaking of understanding both sides, I want to get into like kind of that the big end scene. But yeah, is there anything you wanted to touch on about Homelander being idolized?
Yeah. I think it's such a great and I want to say kind of deep scene because obviously it's like it's dramatic irony. Like we as the audience know what the stepdad doesn't know.
Yeah,
Um and it's just like we're looking at the stepdad obviously like dude how can you be so looking at this guy through rose colored glasses like this and
yeah,
I would like to say like don't push anything on your kids but like I'll be honest I'm gonna try to like have my kids like love Spider-Man love superheroes and stuff like
yeah.
that
Push superheroes on your kids. Don't push you know politics and bad agendas on them.
right I it It is it 100%. It is messed like, you should let your kids but at the same time, I say that you should let your kids like what they like,
Yeah,
like, obviously, I'll try, but, if they don't end up liking it, I'm not gonna, like, push it on them.
yeah,
But yeah, and it's kinda sad because it does seem like MM's kid likes Homelander, and it's like how long has her stepdad been like putting her on with this stuff? Because obviously
yeah,
we know that like he dressed up as Homelander in one of the earlier episodes, the stepdad did, like for like a costume party, her birthday party or whatever.
yeah,
Like this dude stands Homelander. He's like the Wanda stands for Homelander, 100%. Um,
yeah.
and it's just like you look at it and you want to like knock him silly, and obviously I wonder if there's gonna be like a lead up to him seeing Homelander, like, at the end of this season, seeing Homelander for what he really is, like, let's say by the end of the season, the plane video gets out. Um,
Yeah.
I wonder if he's so, like, diehard of a fan, it's gonna be kinda like this I forget what they call him in this show, but, like, the people who back Stormfront.
Storm
Um,
Chasers.
yeah, the Storm Chasers. I wonder if he'll end up like one of those people, like, "Nah, that's not
Yeah.
he didn't mean it like that." Like, he's still, like I could see that happening, and, like, that's, like, the duality of it. I don't think I used that word right, but whatever, we'll go with it.
What's up with
Um,
that?
that's like the duality of it, and I think that's super compelling. But even like what you're saying, like it's definitely like a touchstone to reality as well. And it just goes to show that they're not afraid to do that. And I love the 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 writers and all the whole crew behind it for not shying away from stuff like that. Making a
Yeah,
statement with these type of things.
of course, of course. And yeah, so speaking of seeing both sides of the story and agreeing, uh I guess I'll hit on this first about how damn good Jensen Ackles looks, and he has his Winter Soldier fit on because he has the beard. I wonder if they played on that because I know Cap always clean shaven face, had his helmet on, and then he gets his like nomad look in Infinity War because he has the beard. So
Yeah,
he's like, you know what? Screw the hat. Like I have the beard now. I have my Winter Soldier outfit,
I'm
whatever.
scruffed out, my
And
boy. Let's go.
yeah, so as soon as we saw that Jensen Ackles like had a beard when they freed him last episode, uh, and I know not a lot of people are going to believe me, but as soon as we saw that he had the beard, I was like, he's going to get his Winter Soldier outfit. I know he is. So as soon as they panned up and we saw him with like his basically had hair like Cap and had the beard and no helmet, I was like, yes, he has his Winter Soldier outfit, and he looks damn good.
Yeah,
Like
it looks
this
good,
man
man.
is attractive, man. This is a
Yeah,
good
look
looking
at this
man right here,
man.
dude. But yeah, dude, he looks awesome, and just the way Jensen Ackles plays him, the way he talks, like just like smooth talks, and is like carries himself like he's a damn good superhero, bro. And it kind of makes me upset that we didn't. Well, it doesn't make me upset because Chris Evans is amazing, can never be replaced as Captain America if it's not Sam Wilson himself. But um, I know Jensen Ackles not applied. It's not a job. Well, whatever. He auditioned for the role of Captain America,
Yeah,
and it got so far as to he was a call away from it, and until
yeah.
Chris Evans got it. So he gets his Captain America moment, and it's so awesome. And seeing this is like he would have played a damn good Cap. Like, damn, dude, he really is like Soldier Boy, knock off Cap, I guess if we want to say. But yeah, he was awesome, dude. Anything you want to, I guess, kind of take away from his little scene? Anything you took away from
Yeah,
his
I
minutes?
the whole thing with not even just his suit up, like that was cool and all, but the actual scene when he walks in and starts talking to the countess, that was I didn't see that coming. I thought she was gonna like try to like I
Oh
don't know,
yeah,
not plead for her life necessarily, but try to at least like trick him into like thinking, oh, everything was okay. Like it was just it didn't end up this way. But no, she just like she's like accepting it at that point. She's just like going all in on this dude because he's like, I loved you. I had hope every day that you would come and find me and come save me. And she's like, I hated you.
yeah. We all did.
We all hated you. And it's like, damn, dude, like that's I mean, not that he doesn't deserve it. I mean, they all deserve it in a way. Um, but then also that moment when he's like, "How much did they pay you?" And she's like, "They didn't pay me anything." And it's like, dude, he's just hitting with all these things back to back to back. And it's like, I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for the guy, but like in the moment, like obviously, like just as a you're looking at like you thought someone cared about you, and then you're hit
Yeah.
with this realization that they didn't.
So then you blow their whole entire body off. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I get
they blow their body, blow
it.
their house up, everything they own, like
Yeah.
half their land, like it was insane.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I thought that was a perfect way to let us see what Jensen Ackles could do with this character outside of what
Yeah.
we already saw with like the flashbacks and stuff. We see him get visibly angry, and then earlier in the episode we saw him try to like struggling with this PTSD that he has with his song. Like, dude, I think on one of the clips also we didn't talk about it.
Mhm.
They literally shoved an AK in his mouth and just started like
Yeah,
popping
dude.
shots.
The
That's
stuff they
insane.
did to him was crazy, man, and then
Yeah,
stabbing his eye to see if that was just as,
like
indestructible as his skin, like, it was rough, man.
that's insane.
You said something that, they all hated him and that you understand. I couldn't was it something they touched on other than him just being a douchebag to Grace and everything and, like, how he, okay, so sorry, I'm hopping everywhere, but I was listening to, um this other podcast, Pandavision. They talk about the boys as well, and I just love hearing all different types of
Mhm.
perspectives. And so they said that that they think it was actually implied that he didn't groom Gunpowder, that he just like physically abused him. So, and
Oh,
that Billy only said, or Billy, that Butcher only said that to kind of get under his skin and make him say,
yeah.
no, there was nothing like that going on, because he's like some kind of, that kind of person. And he was like, no, it wasn't nothing like that. Like, don't ever say I was like that, you know? And so they think it was implied that he wasn't groomed, that he was just abused. Anyways, something to think about. But
Mhm.
was it implied that he did anything other than that? Like, why did they hate him so much, other than him just
Um,
being a douchebag?
I guess like I think they're supposed to infer that if he's willing to do that to some like little kid, I don't
Yeah,
know how old Gunpowder was at the time, but like a teenager or whatever. I think it's implied that if he's willing to do those kind of whatever it was, if it was
whatever it
even if
was,
it was
yeah,
just like you said, if he was just actually being physically assaulted or abused, then I'm sure he's not shying away from doing any sort of thing that like that to the rest of the team.
true.
Um, so because you're right though, we didn't really get much of anything else. Like Countess didn't touch on why she hated him. Like she just said that we did hate you, and maybe like there's gonna be other members that come up later in the see. I say later, but there's only 3 episodes left. But I'm sure he
Yeah,
has a vendetta. Soldier Boy definitely has a vendetta. I know he made a deal with Butcher, and he probably has to sort out that deal first. But I'm sure he has a score to settle with multiple people, which is why he grabbed. I'm sure he didn't just grab the suit to go kill Countess and have that be the end of it. Um,
yeah. Um,
so, but yeah, I hope that we see more of what because I agree. I agree that that was like a little bit lacking as far as like why the rest of the team hated him.
yeah. Unless I know they had brought something up earlier about him being 63 and her being 19, or I think the legend was talking about it. So maybe they were all kids or all
Oh,
underage, and he was just like kind of abusing his power and just being jerks to them, or even something more worse than that. So I wonder, because they did say that he doesn't age at all, and she even
yeah,
says, "You look so young," and he's like,
you
and
don't.
you don't." It's like,
That was
holy shit!
that
I
was
was
so
like,
hard.
"Damn." She was like, "Okay, yeah, cool." So I was like, um, but yeah, another thing is, I don't know why I get this feeling, and let me know if you do too. Seeing him look at pictures of Homelander and seeing Homelander look at him, but them not meeting yet, it makes me feel like we're about to see like the match of the century between these two. Like they're kind of teasing it, and we see Homelander kind of looking at him like, okay, who's this dude? And then we see Soldier Boy when he touches down in like quote unquote New York. We see him look at pictures of Homelander, and he's like, who's this dude? And I feel like we're kind of getting like a showdown between like these two like amazing characters. And I don't
Yeah,
know, like even though this is our first time seeing Soldier Boy like in the flesh, uh, I feel like this is something that is going to be huge, or like something that I feel like I've always needed but didn't know until watching this episode and seeing
yeah.
those little hints about them too. So, dude, Soldier Boy and Homelander going at it, like, oh, I don't know why I'm just so hyped. I really want it. I need it.
That actually reminds me of something because you when he was looking at the screen at Soldier Boy, I kept thinking back to season one when what's the invisible guy's name? Um, the
Oh
not
man.
obviously not chameleon, but
Oh man.
translucent.
Translucent. That's what it is.
Yeah, when he went missing, Homelander flew back and forth across the city, right, looking for
Yeah.
him. So then I was the whole time when Soldier Boy came up, I was like, why wouldn't he do that here? But then also, I think they handled that really well because now he's the CEO of Vought. Essentially, he's in charge of everything, and he tells Starlight. Like, okay, why don't you go look for him? While the big boys, or not the big boys, he said, while
Yeah.
the adults, we handle the EDIDA or whatever,
Whatever.
AIDA, yeah, I don't know, some weird thing.
Adidas.
Yeah. Well, the adults handle all like the corporate stuff. And so it's like he's not even like he's putting his focus into this. And so he's not even taking the time to go fly around. Cause like I feel like that was a good way of handling it rather than just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, some cop out thing of like, oh, he just doesn't feel like doing that. Because if he was willing to do that for like a member of the team, why would he not do that for like this guy who could potentially
Kill him.
or he kill him, or like he thinks that Edgar and whoever else is like setting him up, like he said later in the episode. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a perfect way of like not lazily writing it out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's so funny how Homelander's so obsessed with himself to the point where he's not even thinking about Butcher. He's not even thinking that Butcher or Maeve could be behind this. And he even goes up to Maeve and he's like, "Do you think this was Stan Edgar?" And then he's like, "Oh, well, you've been with Butcher. Like, what are y'all cooking up?" That's what they're
Yeah,
cooking up. Like, take your head out of your ass and like see it, dude. It's right in front of you. Um, but yeah, I thought that was awesome. And speaking about cop outs, we didn't touch on this, so we'll touch on it real quick and then talk about the end scene. But um, we talked about how they would cover up Supersonic's death, and they did it with an opioid overdose.
oh yeah,
That was
yeah,
rough, dude. That
yeah,
they said
man,
he overdosed on drugs, and that's what his cause of death was. That's just like sad. Because imagine like his family or people that knew him or everything. Like they're like, "Oh, he died. How did he die? Drug overdose? Oh man. All
yeah,
right. Well, his
exactly.
fault, you know." And it's just like, no, you don't know.
Yeah, that's
It
ridiculous,
sucks.
man.
Yeah.
Ah, that's yeah. I don't like. I remember coming out of that episode and like wondering how they were going to cover it up, and I said I'm sure they were going to find a way, and yep, they
Yeah.
found probably one of the most like worst ways to make
Stereotypical way
him look like
also. Yeah.
yeah, that too, to make him
Yeah.
look like a piece, not a piece of shit, because like addiction, whatever,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
A
It's just
druggie, you know,
yeah,
like someone that's
exactly.
addicted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but try to make him look lesser, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, and so and it's funny that they like kind of touched on it and then dipped off because that's like how it would happen in the real world. Like, oh, this superhero overdose. Okay, well, bad on them, and then they move on because it's an overdose, and it's like,
yeah,
all right, well, nothing we could do about it. And so, not only did they move on from it really quick in the show, but they did it with meaning behind it because that's how it would typically be. That's how fast it would be moved on from in real time. So but yeah, so I talked about seeing both sides of an argument, not only with Huey and Starlight, but like with Billy and the group. Like, man, it's getting hard to be on Billy's side. It's getting hard to take his side now, man. And
yeah,
and then like on the seeing both sides aspect, like I get they did what they had to do to Mother's Milk because this could be their only shot at killing Homelander. But I see it. I see, I feel for Mother's Milk as well. And
yeah.
then not only do I feel for Huey, but I also feel for Starlight. And that music at the end was,
That
man, like
music was
talk
so good.
about writing a fucking
Yeah,
scene, dude. Like that music at the end was heartbreaking. And when it ended there, I wasn't even like, oh, it ended. We have to wait a week. I was more like, damn,
yeah.
this
This is like
hurts.
somber. It was, dude. It
Yeah.
was. I think what you're touching on about Billy, yeah, it's getting so hard because like he's just throwing morals out the window. There's no even little tiny semblance of morals left for him.
Yeah.
He's willing to do whatever it takes. He's willing to roofie his own friends slash teammates.
Uh,
Um, he doesn't even know where well, I think he knows they're in the hospital, but he doesn't know what's happening with like Frenchie just got kidnapped because of him, because Butcher went in all like
yeah.
gun or it was his mission. It was Butcher's
Yeah.
mission, which ended up with 10 Russian guards, I think that lady said. Um Nina said. But no, yeah, it's just Butcher is getting worse, and we know that and we see it, and like we also just we know that like this has to be like one of the only ways. It's also heartbreaking to see Huey go down this path so much to the point where like
Yeah.
he's telling Starlight like this is what he has to do, and it's like little Huey, bro, which was like shocked. Well, obviously anybody would be shocked if their girlfriend got like ran over right in front of them,
Yeah.
but just to see like how terrified he was from that, and now he's just running into this head on, and like he's some sort of badass, and it's like
Yeah.
it's no, I don't want to say hard to watch. It's all fiction and stuff like that, but you still care for these characters, and it hurts to see them go down these paths that you don't want to see them go down.
Yeah. And the conflict that they're stirring up with the boys and even outside people such as like Starlight and Maeve and stuff, and everything surrounding like this Temp V and everything surrounding Soldier Boy and killing Homelander. They're doing it all so good, and they're writing it amazing. And to have moments like this, at the end where the music plays and like, yeah, like you said, where he's like, this is the only way I could save you from Homelander. And she's like, I don't need you to save me, I need you.
Dude,
And she's like, don't go with them, like, come back, because he's like, come with me. And she's like, no, like, don't do this, don't go with them. And he turns around and walks away, and the music just plays on a broken Starlight. It's just
I got it, dude. That's like that has to be in like my top 10 like lines. I'm gonna make a list.
amazing.
Like I gotta do that. Like
Yeah.
there's so many great lines like that, man. And that just that hits so hard. And
Yeah.
they've spent this time building up their relationship and everything. It's just I just need you. Because it's so true. This whole time she's suffering through all these things. She's doing what Huey's telling her to do because she knows it's for the greater good. She's suffering through Homelander being a complete psychopath, asshole, piece of shit. You know, I get all these adjectives to
Dude,
describe him, all
yeah.
these horrible adjectives. And now she just lost like one of her childhood best friends. And so right now she just needs Huey. She needs old Huey more than ever. And then now he's just hell bent on getting not revenge, but just trying to get rid of these soups and like he's becoming more like Butcher. And Butcher right now is not a person that you want to be morals wise anyway.
Oh man, yeah. I'm watching the scene right now, and man, I can't talk. Like, dude, her acting is amazing.
Yeah.
It like you just she tells a story with her face and the emotion she's making. There's even a point where, like, if you're listening on audio, you can't see, but she blinks, like she looks like this, and she's like, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh
man.
man, like I almost started
Dude.
tearing up just now, like rewatching the scene. And I think all they say for a while is just, she's like, please don't go. And he just looks at her, and they don't talk for like a solid 30 seconds. And he just looks at her and turns around and walks away. And then she's just standing there. So I think, yeah, the last time I felt this impacted by the boys was that finale hit, Becca and Butcher's basically last speech to each other, last lines to each other. Um, and they're talking in the I forget what it's called, where the planes go and everything. Losing the word, but in the hangar, they're
Yeah.
talking in the hangar, and she has that dialogue, and I think she's telling him like to just save Ryan and look out for Ryan. And they see Butcher cry for the first time, all of the boys. And I remember watching that scene, and I cried. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, man, like this sucks. Um, so to see that in like this scene, and just knowing that we have 3 more episodes, it's truly something, man. This show is just so, it's truly something.
Yeah. I guess to give my closing thoughts, we've hit everything. Like
Yeah.
this episode, I'm gonna read it. This was my favorite episode of the entire series as a whole. I think it
Uh,
gave us everything that we wanted. It gave us like the obviously it didn't have as much gore as the other episodes had, but it had like the weird factor that the show brings. It gave us the hitting emotion on like multiple different character sides. It gave us all this setup for what's to come with like where'd Maeve go. Um, Homelander knows that they're up to something now. Um, what Soldier Boy's in the picture.
yeah.
Where's this gonna lead? Um, Mother's Milk and how this is affecting him. Frenchie just got taken by Nina. Like, dude, there's so much going on here, and it all works so well. Kimiko, like her arc, dude. I
Yeah.
can't again. I'll just keep going on and on. Like this, it's what they're able to do with all of this. It's truly you think like a parody show like this wouldn't be able to get to these heights that it does. Like you'd think this would be reserved for like a type of like YouTube show or something. Like
Yeah.
someone would just make a quick YouTube video about, oh, if Superman was like a tyrannical piece of shit, this
Yeah.
is what it would be like. But they've crafted this whole show and obviously this whole comic book first. But I think, and I never read the comics, but I've seen people saying like this is like the only comic adaptation that has surpassed the comics in terms of quality. So I
Yeah.
can't speak to that because I have never read the comics. But if
Yeah.
that's the case, that's awesome to hear. And I mean, I just know that I love the show so much. I think this show, it's fantastic, and this episode was a great example of that. Um, I don't know if I'd give it a no, you know what? Shoot for the stars. 10 out of 10. Shoot for the
Go ahead.
stars.
Go
Shoot for the
for it, dude.
stars. I give this episode a 10 out of 10. I like, again, it's just we didn't get as much crazy Homelander in this as we did, but and what we did get of Homelander, it was still great.
Yeah.
Anthony Starr was giving it his all in every scene yet again.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. Uh, I don't know. I really did love this episode. I'd have to take a step back and see where it ranks amongst my other favorites. But dude, it's definitely up there. Um, Absolutely loved it. We had back to back banger episodes, and honestly, like back to back to back to back, blah blah blah, 5 back to back episodes of just like amazing content,
Yeah.
and we got 3 more left. So honestly, I'm really wondering if they're. I was thinking about this while we were talking about it earlier. And it just be my wild theory, seeing if it comes true next week. But what if we're not gonna get Hero Gasm? What if that was just like kind of like an inside joke with the cast, and they kind of teased it out to kind of get us excited for it, just to be like, nah, we're not. Y'all gonna have to wait. Like, Amazon wouldn't let us green like that. We're not gonna do it. Um, because I don't know. Like we said earlier, it hasn't been much setup. I still don't see how we go from episode 5 to Hero Gasm, but um imagine, like, I don't know, it's not really a theory, just kind of like me imagining like the biggest plot twist of all time is just episode 6 coming out and it's not anything like we imagined it to be. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a week, which is fun. But in terms of this episode and my hopes for the rest of the season, I'm all for it, man. Like, it's amazing. This season has been blowing me away. Probably my favorite season so far. They've hit bangers back to back this whole season. So I trust that they can do it for 3 more episodes. If next week's episode isn't filler, which I don't think it will be, it might be in some aspects, but
Oh my
I don't
god.
think
You did it again.
this time it was on purpose. Um, if it isn't filler next week, though, we're in for a treat, man, because then it's the penultimate and then the finale. So I'm very excited, man. This has been one of my favorite projects to cover all year, and yeah, so I'm excited and excited to talk about it more next week. Any closing, thoughts about like my little wild theory about Hero Gasm next week? You think we will get it or no?
Um, only thing my thoughts on it are because I never knew where the information was coming from that it was gonna be on episode 6. I
So
never saw
they
that.
they actually, I think they posted a script.
Oh, they
It
did.
said 3. So they posted a script. It was actually right after season 2 ended. I remember they posted a script of the first episode. And it said 0301 or 3x1 payback, and that was all they gave us. And they were like, "See y'all next year," or see for season 3,
Yeah.
and that was it. And then I saw a picture being shared online of the exact same font, script, everything, and I'm assuming someone on the cast sent it out, and it said 306, and it had in quotes Hero Gasm. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Then what I was going to say is if because I didn't know where that information came from, and now I do. But so this everything I'm about to say, just forget about, I guess, because I was gonna say if I didn't know where it was coming from and like it wasn't like reliable, I would just say like maybe it wasn't gonna be episode 6, and like maybe we'll get the setup for it in episode 6, and then episode 7 it happens. Um, but I mean honestly, like that would be kind of wild. What you're saying because
Yeah.
the they lead up to this whole thing, and because especially because you touch on like Amazon wouldn't okay that because like yeah you would think like who on God's green earth would okay that for a live action television show,
Yeah.
let alone even if it was like animated. But I mean I don't know. I think I saw one of the creators of the show that said that Amazon like hasn't said no to anything yet. Okay, yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, then yeah, I don't know. I still think we'll get it, but I do think the setup for it is rather um non-existent
Yeah,
at
basically
this moment.
nothing at all.
Um, but at the same time, I guess every episode so far has been over like 50 minutes of this season.
Yeah,
So I don't know
it could just
if
be
they'll
like the
set it
back
up in
end.
in the same episode or something like that. But
Yeah,
if that's the case, like I could see that maybe feeling a bit rushed, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they'll be able to do it right. Um,
yeah.
or even if it needs setup. I think it probably does, because it would just seem weird, like how we didn't know this whole island where people go to have gigantic orgies never existed.
Yeah,
But then again, I guess Vots kept stuff from us before. We
yeah.
didn't. Or I guess it wouldn't be a Vought thing. I don't think Vought would set that up, but I could be wrong.
Well, in the comics, Va actually does. They do it so that
Oh,
these heroes can get everything out, so that they don't go crazy. Yeah, and they even pay regular people like sex workers. They pay them $100,000 to never speak about it, and just like basically be there for the hero's enjoyment. So I think Homelander goes on the stand and he's like, the so and so galactic war has entered our solar system, so we're all gonna be out there fighting, but fret not. Like we're gonna handle this, and we're gonna go fight off these aliens to make
oh,
sure they never touch Earth. And then it's funny because they cut off and everyone's like, is Earth okay? And they're like, yeah, the Earth is okay. We're just going to go fight. They take off, and the next panel is Homelander landing down. And while he's landing down, another soup is taking their shirt off. And he's like, graphic warning here, but he's landing down and he's like, let's fuck. It's
oh
just
my
so
god.
stupid. And it just goes on from there. So, um,
Uh,
yeah, I think I actually heard that Amazon actually said no to the famous, because this is famous in the or like big in the comics of Homelander. Sorry, lack of a better word again, beating it on top of the tower and saying I can do whatever the fuck I want in front of the moon.
oh
The last
yeah.
shot we got last season. In season one, the creator said no, Amazon didn't greenlight that, and then they surprised us with it in season two. So um, that's why they were like, nah, they would never okay Hero Gasm. And then I guess they're like, hey, we're getting Hero Gasm this season. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see if they do end up doing it. It'll be interesting to see, but we'll have a lot to talk about nonetheless. So
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, this was our review and little run through of The Boys season 3 episode 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. Um Aiden, you want to talk about you want to tell them where they can find you at and all your different socials?
Yeah, so just Aiden H Talks on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and that's really mainly where I am. And yeah, weekly podcast here on the channel, and then also on Spotify under Words from the Nerd. So that's
Yeah.
about all I got to plug.
Yeah, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate that so much. Keep up to date with whenever we upload these podcasts, which is weekly. Most of the time 2 a week. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you wanted to check out, if you wanted to be not lazy, but if you want to do the quick way, Aiden has a link tree in his bio on TikTok, and has the link to this podcast, his TikTok, my TikTok, Ben's TikTok, all
YouTube's all of
yeah,
it.
YouTube, all that, all the great stuff. So if you want the link to everything, he's got the link tree set up right there for you in his TikTok account. Be sure to drop him a follow while you're there. And yeah, and all those of you on Spotify, Apple Music, all the podcast listening loveliness, thank you guys so much
Yeah,
for listening. I'm an audio listener myself for my podcast, so
awesome.
shout out to you guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll be back. We actually have something real special for you guys. I don't think we want to reveal. We're not going to
Yeah,
reveal it yet for you guys. We'll you guys will see it when it pops up, but it'll be big. Keep an eye out for it. Those of
yeah.
you who are listening, it's coming real soon, next couple days. So yeah, thank you guys so much. It's a big, I promise, when I say it's a big one, I want to stress it's a big one. It's a big one. If you're
Yeah,
in the comic space, it's a big one. So
yeah.
Aiden got it all set up, and I still can't believe the wizard himself did it. Like
I don't know
it's
how I
crazy.
did it either.
He's got the magic, bro. He's got the magic. But thank you guys so much. We will see you guys with that episode, and adios.
Peace.